So, I've been playing Black Ops 4 for a while now, and I've never completed or beaten any map on this game. I tried a couple of times when I was younger, but would always fail, of course, because I was too young to understand instructions. But now that I'm older and can actually follow everything that the Easter egg guy has to say, I completed every Black Ops 4 Zombies map from Voyage of Despair all the way to the end, Toddler Tone. So, Dead of the Night is the first map that starts the Chaos storyline in chronological order, of course. The map starts by showing an invitation from Alistair Rhodes, aka Scarlett's father. Then, when everyone's having a good time at the party, Godfrey, who is Alistair's butler, starts drawing symbols on the floor since he's being controlled by the cult. Godfrey apparently died, but was resurrected by Alistair, who used the Scepter of Ra to resurrect him. What he did not know, however, was that is a part of the cult, so Godfrey starts drawing symbols on the floor. The other characters whose names I cannot remember at all meet him, and then a zombie outbreak happens from not Element 115, but instead Prima Materia. Okay, so there's two different spawns for this map, and you preferably want to get the one on the left, because the one on the right is quite tight. It doesn't really matter though, because you're going to be leaving by round 2 anyways. I then kill these last 3 zombies, open up these 2 doors, and turn on the Sentinel artifact. I pick up the first parts of the shield, get a free 100 points from the Danu perk, and then I end round 2. Then while just randomly roaming around the wine cellar, I managed to find the first part to the silver, which is required for the silver bullets, which is obviously really good. And then I melee this vase, and I have to get about 4 zombie kills around it to fill it up with souls so I can see what I have to do. It's required to unlock Pack Punch, which obviously you need for the Easter egg. I then interact with the vase. It showed me a woman that I had no idea where the location of the picture was, so I just had to look at the guide for that. Of course, whenever you get a double points, you just want to pop your temporal gift. It will just give you so many more points on round 4. And basically what I would do is whenever I got a double points, or just literally whenever I have my special weapon in general, I would just try to train up a horde and just use my special weapon around them. I wouldn't actually kill them, because when you activate your special weapon, it actually kills them and gives you a lot of points. It gives you 90 points, but it doesn't actually kill the zombies, which is really good. That way you'll be able to get more points, which will allow you to open up more doors and get your guns pack punch faster, which will allow you to complete the Easter egg on much earlier round, because it does start to get a little hectic on the 20s when the zombies start to run pretty fast. And as you see, I have 10,350 points from doing that strategy. It is so good. It feels so nice to be able to have that many points on this early round. That way you can open up more of the map. I then get the second part to the shield, which is in the diner. And then while trying to get the last part to the shield, I almost take my first down in round 5, which would have sucked. I probably would have restarted, but I got the last part of the shield and I managed to survive. I then interact with the green crystal after getting 4 zombie souls around it, and then it gives me a perk that you have to go to, and in my case, it gave me Zeus. I then build the shield in the smoking room, and then melee this bookshelf with my shield. It opens up, and it gives me a piece to upgrade of the Alistair's Annihilator Wonder Weapon, and it becomes a Chaos Theory once you upgrade it, and you can actually upgrade it twice, which is pretty cool. Also, yes, of course, you always see me using Stone Cold Stronghold whenever I play BF4, but because I'm doing an Easter egg instead, I'm running Stamina up on my modifier slot as always. Every single map I ran Stamina up on my modifier slot, because it just allows me to run around the map quickly, and the maps are quite big on this game. After getting to the Zeus statue, I just have to kill a couple of vampires that spawn in. It's pretty easy to do, because I have a K on 57, and also I have my Wraithfires to kill them. After killing the last vampire, he gives me a tuning fork, and I need 3 of those to open up Pack Punch. For my next tuning fork, I basically have to just interact with this clock, and then stand in the circle and kill a bunch of zombies. It's extremely easy to do, especially since you have your special weapon. And now there's symbols around the map for a free Alistair's Annihilator, and once you get all of them, you can punch them into here, and then you get a free Alistair's Annihilator, which honestly, the Wonder Weapon is really good on this map. I then finally find where this ghost is. She was just located in the music room, and I just basically have to escort her around the building, outside in the greenhouse, and then once she gets all the way there, she drops the last tuning fork, which allows me to get Pack Punch opened. Then after interacting with the Prima Materia, it disappears, and then a werewolf spawns in, and because I have my silver bullets, I can get the second part actually, to the upgrade in Alistair's Annihilator, which is called the Chaos Theory. And you need silver bullets, otherwise he won't drop it. Of course, since silver bullets do extra damage, that means I was able to just kill this werewolf very easily, and he dropped the part that I need for the Chaos Theory. I then pack punch my KN57, build the upgraded Alistair's Annihilator so I get the Chaos Theory, and then I have to interact with all the crystals again, just so it allows me to get the final upgrade for the Alistair's Annihilator, which is called the Mausoleum. And then after doing that, I'm able to shoot the top of the Mausoleum, and then I get to move on to the next step. Okay, now for this next step, it can be a little confusing, and you have to line up all the lights so they're all shining, and then it kind of just destroys the head of the statue. It can be a little confusing, but I just kind of turned all of them until I got it right. It was honestly really easy. Now, out of all the steps, this is probably the most difficult one. It isn't that bad, though. All you got to do is look for zodiac signs and then for scratch marks around the room. And then you just gotta count all those up and then do the zodiac sign from least scratch marks to most scratch marks. So I input all my symbols in, or my zodiac signs in, from least to most, and I finally do it. It kind of took me 25 minutes. It is definitely the most difficult step of this Easter egg. Then after you do that, you have to turn this crank, and then you have to just hit it with your shield so it just stays like that, and that step's done. Then I have to run through this trap with my shield out, and then it has electricity around it, and I have to very quickly run over to this telescope and hit it with my electric shield, and then it will fire at the moon basically, and now that step's completely finished. I then have to hold E on this wall. Yes, I hold E as my interact button, and then I have to interact with this stone for around 10 seconds, and then a lockdown will start. Then we'll try and upgrade my Chaos Theory to the Mausoleum. I then take my very first down on round 16. It did kind of suck. I didn't realize that the vampire just flies in the air like that and you had to shoot him down. I thought he was just on the ground, so I kind of panicked and thought I like glitched the Easter egg or something, but I was very relieved to realize that the vampire was just in the air. So I did manage to get the upgraded Annihilator. Oh, it's not even called a Mausoleum, whatever. And then I have to shoot basically the fire variant at these sticks that I gathered from trees. And then once I get the fire variant, I basically just interact with it, and I'll basically get stuck or something on the branches. It's kind of weird. Oh, but you know what did happen? I, for some reason, thought it would be a good idea to pause the game and look at the Easter egg guide while that was happening, and then my game started to glitch out like this in the recording. Great. So because it glitched out like this, and I'm sure you guys probably don't want to watch whatever this is, I'm just gonna skip to me killing the boss, which is the werewolf. I did take my second down inside the boss, so it was kind of scary. I only had 1 life left, and I also lost Dying Wish and Stamina, but I managed to finally beat the boss, and it felt extremely good to complete Dead of the Night. And as we watch this distorted Scarlet face, I don't even know, basically what happens is Godfrey kills the other 3 characters, then Scarlet comes in and shoots Godfrey in the heart, and then they all die, basically, and not that they were important anyways. Then Scarlet sees that they're driving away with her father, Alistair Rhodes. She tries to chase after them, but fails, and they get away in a plane. Then she pulls out a letter from her father that says these are the only 3 people that he trusts, and it turns out to be Bruno, Diego, and Shaw, and that leads us into Voyage of Despair, of course. Voyage of Despair starts with our new crew, the Chaos Crew, and the Titanic. Diego then uses Riz on this woman to get a key from her purse, which then Shaw grabs so they can open up the Millionaire Suite to send almost like kind of a grenade to the cargo room where it takes out the guard. Then Scarlet comes in the room and uses the device to open up the safe, which contains the Sentinel artifact. A guy from the cult then comes in and takes it, and also takes a necklace from her, I'm pretty sure, and then activates it, which creates a whole bunch of zombies. When you first load into Voyage of Despair, you instantly see the iceberg hit the Titanic, which is obviously really, really cool. Of course, because the store only costs 500, I open it so I can get the first part to the shield. I then end round 1, open up this door, and then get the second part to the shield. I then activate the Sentinel artifact on round 5. I then drain this water just so it makes traversing down here easier. I then grab Stamina, and you can obviously guess why. This map is huge, but compared to Blood of the Dead, it just makes this map look like a child. I then build the shield. I end up buying Time Slip, and then the first step is to activate all the Pack-a-Punch locations, which I did already. And now this next step, people find it to be hard, which honestly I don't know how. It is really easy. I guess back in the day it probably was hard because people are trying to find all the locations, but now it's really easy. All you gotta do is look for a symbol. If you see a symbol, it can be either a triangle, an upside down triangle with a line going through the top, or upside down triangle with a line going through the bottom, I'm pretty sure. If you find a symbol like that in the room, then all you gotta do is look at the clock and see what time it is, and then just write down the hour and the minutes, and that's it. It's really easy. So for example, because the minute hand is on 8, that would be -4, and because the hour hand is on 10, that would be -2. 12 is 0, 1 is 1, 2 is 2, 3 is 3, 4 is 4, 5 is 5, 6 is 6. And then once you get to 7, it becomes -5, 8 is -4, 9 is -3, 10 is -2, 11 is -1, and then of course 12 is 0. Saying that out loud, I can see why people don't like this step. Once you get all the times, then you have to go back here and input that into here. And basically, like I said, 10 is -2, so if it was like the minute hand was -2, then you go back to, and then you have to also make sure it's the right symbol. So yeah, I can get why people don't like this step. I then finished this step because I already did the hours before I did the minutes. Yeah, the main reason I knew I already had to do that was because I failed this like twice, so it was just kind of in my head. For the next step, you need to look for outlets that have the elements coming out of it. So that would be fire, gas, electricity, and ice or water, or whatever you want to call it. So for me, I found fire, so I put spawn and then fire because it was next to spawn. And you have to get that element zombie kill next to it, and then you'll be done with that part. And you have to do that 4 times for all 4 elements. I took a dumb down here. I'm pretty sure I died so quickly because the water zombies do increase the zombies' damage. So, and it also increased their health, which is even better. I then got the free Kraken from just killing that boss zombie on round 10 and getting the key, and then doing the treasure chest. It's really easy to do once you know all the locations. Then, after you kill the elemental zombies next to the outlets, a circle will spawn in. You have to stand on it, interact with it, and then it will spawn you into a random place. Well, not random, it's the same place every single time, but you have to do it in a specific order. So I did poison, then you have to do water, electricity, and then fire, and then you also have to make sure you get that sentinel artifact every single time. After you complete all of them, the sentinel artifact will drop. I then build the thing that allows me to change my Kraken to different variants. I have to get the gas variant. It's required for a step, and the gas variant is pretty bad. The reason you need the gas variant is because you need it for the step where you have to shoot at all these blue pipes that are kind of steaming, and then it'll release water, and then once you shoot all of them, then the area will flood, and then you've completed that step. Now, if anything, this planet step is definitely the hardest step of the entire Voyage of Despair Easter egg, because you have infinite zombies spawning in on the round, so you gotta worry about zombies all the time. And if you shoot the wrong planet, you better believe you have to do the entire thing all over again. It's super annoying. The only good thing is that if you do accidentally shoot the wrong planet, then at least the order doesn't change. Also, yes, I did switch to the Lightning Kraken because it is the best variant until about round 100 where you switch to the Ice Kraken, but it doesn't even matter. I'm not doing a high round right now. Now, last planet you have to shoot is the Sun, which you don't actually have to shoot right away. You should probably get the Helion Salvo and the Ice version of the Kraken first because it's really good for this step. Because once you pick up the Sun, then you're going to be put in this sort of it's not a boss fight. You have to get to the other side of the map pretty quickly, and I'm pretty sure if you fail this step, and I don't know if you fail the game. Now, to get through an icicle, what you have to do is shoot all your Kraken shots in your clip, and then you gotta shoot 2 Helion Salvo shots. It's very strong, so whenever you get your special weapon, you always want to use that because it gets rid of the icicles really quickly. And then get to the last one I have to break, I use my special weapon, and then I complete it. Then after that step, I'm ready for the boss fight, so what I have to do is just swim all the way to the tree, and then just interact with the sentinel artifact, and then a big eye will spawn in. So basically, for the first part of the boss fight, all you do is just kill zombies and kill everything that's in your way, and then once you kill all of them, then you'll move on to the next area. You can't damage the eye yet. The next area it teleports you to is the engine room, which can be a little tight, but it is also pretty difficult because the ice element, as you can see right there, is just lurking around the place, and it does increase the zombies' health and damage that they inflict to you, so it can be a little difficult, but still not that hard. After you complete that area, you teleport to the staterooms, and for this room, you basically have to actually shoot the eye. He basically will shoot a laser, and then whatever way he shoots it from, you have to shoot him with your Helion Salvo. It makes it really easy if you have the Helion, because if you don't, it's probably going to take forever. It's also quite difficult because I didn't bring Homunculus, which makes this step way easier, but even then, the Wraith Fires make it super easy as well because the zombies can barely hit you when they're in it. For this one, all you have to do is just wait for him to teleport a bunch and then shoot his laser, and then you can just fire at him with your Helion Salvo, and then you complete this stage as well. And then I get teleported to the last part, which is where you interacted with the Sentinel Artifact, of course, and where you started originally. And you just do the exact same thing as you did last stage. The only difference being is eventually he will start a wipeout attack, which if you don't deal with that right away, then it will end your game instantly, even if you have revives. So you gotta be careful about that. So as you can see right here, after I damage him twice with my Helion Salvo, then he goes back to this original area, and you see he's charging up for a wipeout attack. Right here, you just want to shoot 4 Helion Salvo bullets, and then it will kill him instantly, and you'll be done with the boss fight. It's an extremely easy boss fight to deal with when you have the Helion Salvo. Then, in the cutscene, basically what happens is everyone returns to normal, and then they find a sort of door that leads to ancient evil, which they don't later come to until after 9. And then they basically have to escape the Titanic because it starts to sink from the iceberg because time never passed, I'm pretty sure, when they were in this trial. And then we also find out that Bruno was actually controlled by the cult this entire time, since I'm pretty sure he died as well, but Alistair revived him. With the Scepter of Ra, of course. 9 is the next map in the Chaos storyline in chronological order, and 9 basically starts with our characters next to Ancient Evil, but they sort of need a code to access it. So it looks like they're basically smelling whatever that substance is, and they're going to where 9 is so they can get the symbols needed. And of course they're not actually there, so if they ever died, they would just wake up in that exact same spot that they're in right now. Now, of course, whenever I start a game of 9, I always go to the challenge podium on the left, and I always get my first challenge ready, which is just to knife 13 zombies this game, which is really easy. Of course, so I can get a free Pack-a-Punch Strife. Of course, I do get the Pack-a-Punch Strife because it makes killing all these champions way easier on these earlier rounds. I then place all the blue heads next to the Pack-a-Punch, so it opens up Pack-a-Punch. And then I have to look for a blue head around these skulls, which can be difficult to see. For some reason, I didn't turn up my brightness for this step. And as you can see, this is what I mean. The skull, it literally just has a blue circle on its head, and it's super hard to see without turning up your brightness. So I don't know what the point of that step is, but once you find the skull, you just have to use your special weapon and pick it up. And since I got a fire sale and used my temporal gift from the crowd, I managed to get the Circuit's Kiss without doing the free Wonder Weapon Easter egg, which was nice. So then I can place the skull in this grinder, shoot a charge shot at the grinder, and then I have to do that 2 more times, and then I'll be able to pick up the crushed skull. And then basically for this step, you have to get Firebomb, so I got the Helion Salvo, luckily. It only took like 50 box hits, and then I have to stand on that stuff right there and then kill the zombies with Firebomb, and then I can move on to the next step. And after you interact, it will teleport you to like a darker version of Danu, where you have to get rid of all the Prima Materia, and then after you do that, you'll move on to the next step and you're finished Danu. Once you finish the Danu step, then you have to move on to this, where you have to shoot all the symbols with your shield around the map. They can be in a bunch of different locations, but I managed to get lucky and get them pretty quickly. And then once you shoot a symbol, then a gladiator will spawn in, and then once you kill him, his soul will go to the Ra statue. Did have a game, however, where this step actually glitched on me because I'm guessing I killed all 4 gladiators at the same time, which you're probably not supposed to do. What will happen once you interact with a symbol is that 4 different symbols will spawn in, and then you have to basically write that down because the symbols represent a type of zombie. So for example, one symbol might represent a gladiator, while another symbol might represent a fire zombie. I messed the step up though because a poison zombie got in the way and I wasn't supposed to kill him first. I was trying to aim at the brawler to kill him, but of course the poison zombie got in the way and he died first. I did manage to do it my second try though, and you actually have to do this 2 times. So for example, the first time might give you a brawler, gladiator, a poison zombie, an electric zombie, and the second time it might give you a gladiator, a fire zombie, a water zombie, and the second time is always going to give you a Blight Father. I then need to look for screws around in these windows in the underground area, and then I need to shoot them with my Helion Salvo. I'm pretty sure the shield is the best way to shoot them with, but it didn't really matter. The Helion Salvo will kill all the zombies around me as well, just so I can be safe. For this step, you basically need to double Pack-a-Punch again. A lot of use of double Pack-a-Punch in this, and you need to get Kilowatt and get zombie kills, or you can just get 2 gladiator kills or brawler kills inside these electrical kind of ovals surrounding all 4 of the sides of the arena in here. And once you do that, then you'll be able to complete that step, and that's done. Once you fill up all the 4 ovals with zombie kills with Kilowatt, then you can interact with the challenge podium, and you'll just basically have to kill a bunch of brawlers. I'm pretty sure it's time-based, but you get an unlimited special weapon, so it's really easy. For this step, you basically have to line up your Circuit's Kiss shot, and it's kind of difficult. I didn't even realize you had to hit 3 at once. I thought you only had to hit them 1. But yeah, it turns out you have to hit all 3 of them at once, and you have to do that 3 times. And I almost ran out of ammo before I finished it, which would have sucked a lot. And for this last step, all you gotta do is do it lockdown. It's obviously extremely easy considering the fact that I have the Helion Salvo, my special weapon, the Wraithfire, and the Circuit's Kiss. Well, not the Wraith Fires, but the Homunculus, which is obviously better. After I complete the lockdown, I'm able to pick up this key, which will now allow me to go in the boss fight, which can be completely cheesed with the Heliod stuff. Okay, so basically for this first part of the boss fight, all you have to do is just kill a bunch of gladiators and brawlers, and you'll get a bunch of max ammos as well, so you can just spam your Helion and get through this step really quickly. After a while, the Elfin does spawn in, and he gets completely cheesed with the Helion. There's 2 of them though, so the first one's really easy. The second one's just a little more difficult. I'm pretty sure his armor's stronger, but he has the same amount of health when you get rid of the armor. And as you can see, his armor just gets completely melted with the Helion. I then take out the first elephant needed, and then I continue shooting him for some reason. But then I have to take out the second one, which is just a little harder. I mean, I did have a couple of close calls where the elephant ran straight at me, because he is a little bit more aggressive, this one. It also was quite scary because I had no downs left, so if I took it down, it would be game over and I would have to do the entire Easter egg over again. And the fact that he was running after me like that was even scarier. I do finally take out the second elephant and I complete the Easter egg. It felt obviously really good because it is Black Ops 4, so completing any Black Ops 4 map obviously feels really good, especially Blood of the Dead. So basically what happens in the cutscene is not really that much. The main cult member sticks his hand through the real Delphi, and then he gets kind of attacked by Prima Materia. Other than that, nothing really else happens other than 4 main characters getting beheaded, which I'm not going to show because YouTube will probably take this down if I show that. So that happens, but they do wake up, so it was all good. The last map in the Chaos storyline was Ancient Evil, since they, for whatever reason, did not want to continue the story, which, in my opinion, was a really good one. Obviously, it's not better than the Aether storyline, but it still was really good. After a crew gets the code they need, Scarlet inputs it into the door, which unlocks it. This then reveals Delphi in Greece. However, this is the real Delphi, because the one above is actually a decoy, so I'm assuming they were probably trying to hide it from their enemies. Of course, because all the zombies are already in the map, I can just take them out in about 10 seconds and end round 1 that fast. It's basically just like Transit, except those are the actual zombies and not just random zombies that are placed inside the map already. I then interact with the Sentinel artifact, and then of course the son of Zeus, or Odin I'm pretty sure, spawns in. And then he basically just spawns in a bunch of skeletons and zombies, and we just have to kill the skeletons, and then Pegasus will come in and take out the rest. I then pick up the Golden Bridle, and then the boss of this map spawns in. Well, not the boss, but the mini boss spawns in, and obviously I cheese him with my special weapon because there's no way I'm killing him with just a strike. And of course, after I do kill him, he gives me the last parts of the shield that I needed. So then I build the shield, of course. I then get my first doormat hands, because you do need to get all 4 hand upgrades in order to complete this Easter egg. It's literally just like Origins, where you need to get all the staff. And of course, as you already know, to get the Pack-a-Punch, you have to ride Pegasus, which is obviously really cool. And in order to actually get Pack-a-Punch, you need to use your special weapon and melee at where both eagles are. And I almost used my special weapon. I tried to do it in one go, but I ended up not being able to do it anyways, because you probably need the full stamina modifier to do that. As you can see, I just barely missed it. It was kind of annoying, but it's not that hard to charge up your special weapon when you're knifing. Wasn't expecting the mini boss to show up, though. I honestly forgot that he shows up just randomly once you enter the Pack-a-Punch area. Of course, I instantly cheesed him with my special weapon, and because I went on autopilot mode when I was doing that, I just got rid of my special weapon and forgot to melee the cage to get the eagle out so I can unlock Pack-a-Punch. Now, this first step of the Easter egg is kind of a pain in the butt. What you have to do is just do a bunch of challenges. I don't know why this was the first step of the Easter egg. Why trick? I have no idea. This literally took me to like round 16. Well, it only took me to round 15, which isn't much better. But anyways, once you complete a bunch of trials and accept your rewards, then the fire will turn blue, and then you can basically melee it, and then your shield will get blue fire around it. With this blue fire on my shield, I can then melee all of these kind of oils that are on the map, and then that's the first step. Pretty much weird step, to be honest. Then my first Gauntlet upgrade I decided to do is the Earth one. It's really easy to do. Once you get the Gauntlet, all you have to do is just look for plants that have Prima Materia just surrounding it, and then you gotta just shoot it with the Gauntlet, and then it will drop a plant. You gotta be careful though, because once you pick up the plant, you can only walk, so you probably want to only do this with one zombie, I'd say. Once you do that 3 times and place all the plants next to where you got the gauntlet, then you'll be able to use this teleporter, and you'll have the upgrade gauntlet, but you'll have infinite ammo, so it's really easy. You just gotta kill a bunch of zombies. Now for the Hand of Charon, what you gotta do is do the same thing. Stand in a circle and get a bunch of zombie kills, and then once you get the gauntlet, then you gotta kill zombies with the gauntlet in this river or this little pond of water. Once you get enough, it will turn really red, and then you gotta drink the water, and you gotta be careful. You gotta leave one zombie, because when you get hit, you do not regenerate health, because I don't know really why, but I guess sure. And then you gotta look for golden coins around the map, and you gotta just get 3, and then once you do that, you do the exact same thing. It will teleport you where you have the upgrade gauntlet and an infinite amount of ammo. It's really easy. I have no clue how I didn't take it down here. I just got really lucky, I guess, with the zombies not hitting me here, because they do swipe a lot faster in this game compared to BO3. In BO3 they swipe fast, but oh my gosh, in this game you do not want to train at all, because you can go down in a matter of seconds. But the next gauntlet I do is probably the best hand out of all of them, and basically what you have to do is shoot a zombie out of these big feathers, and then you have little feather will spawn in, and you got to continue shooting that with your gauntlet, and you got to do that 3 times, and then just like last time, it will teleport you to basically this area where you get the upgrade gauntlet, and you just literally spam it because you get unlimited ammo. And out of all the gauntlets to upgrade, I'd say this one's probably the most difficult one, but they're all really easy, so I can't really tell. It's probably the one I just did, which is the best one, or it's either this one. Basically, there's 3 mirrors around the map. You have to shoot it with your weapon, then you have to shoot it with your gauntlet, and then it will fly across the map. I kind of failed it there, and you can just see it went off into the distance. You have to basically shoot it, and at these mirror, you have to get it in the right direction as well. You have to shoot your gauntlet at the mirrors, and then it will fire. I forget where it fires again, but then it will give you kind of just a glowing light, and then you have to bring that back to where you got the gauntlet originally. It is time-based, so it is quite difficult. And as you can see, I bring it back, and it's actually really small. It was really big originally, but like I said, it's time-based, and it starts to shrink really fast if you're not fast enough. So I have to do that 2 more times, and it's not that bad, honestly. I then get the upgrade gauntlet for this one, and this one's also really good as well. They're all really good, and the only one I dislike a lot is kind of the earth one. Other than that, all of them are pretty good. And now basically for this step, you have to shoot yourself with a charged shot around this area, and then look for a statue with glowing blue eyes, and then you have to just basically spam it with a normal shot, and you have to, I'm pretty sure, just shoot 3 statues, and then that's the step done. And now for this next step, you have to throw your shield at these cogs. As soon as the little cog gets next to the big cog, you basically have to throw it and get it right. The one that I found the most annoying was that one I was just at. This one I did basically first try, and it was this one I was struggling on for about 30 minutes. I'm saying, like, seriously, you can barely see it, but I finally hit that one, and then I just basically have to throw my shield at that big cog right there, and then that's the step. It's as easy as that. The only hard one is the one I was struggling on. I got lucky and managed to get the Homunculus on round 25, which obviously is a really big help for the boss fight. And then I throw her Homunculus, so I get time to do this step. So I have to use the Earth Gauntlet, shoot that wall there, and then after a bit I have to shoot this wall, and then it will fire at both those places. Then I have to shoot there and make sure it shoots all 3, and then the mini boss will spawn, and I have to take him out. I'm pretty sure he's a little stronger, but I mean, he then drops a big golden rod, and I have to place it in that circle there. I don't do it yet because I did want to get the Helion Salva before I hopped into this step, because it is round 26 after all, and the zombies are kind of super sprinting. I did decide to place the rod in just real quickly because it really didn't affect my game at all. I mean, it didn't spawn an infinite amount of zombies at least. Basically, what you have to do with the step is, it's not that difficult once you understand how it works. I kind of was confused, and I thought this step was going to take me an hour, which it didn't. Once I figured out, honestly, how easy it was, it seriously only took me like 10 minutes. So before you can even start this, what you have to do is, every single time you get one of them correct, or if you're just starting it, you have to get an electrical zombie kill around it, and then it will be moving. And basically what you have to do is, there will be a blue symbol, and what you have to do is you have to look at where the golden rods kind of, as you can see right there, that kind of golden particles, whatever that's pointing at, you have to get the blue symbol there. So it's basically just a memory game, kind of. You have to just wait till the blue symbol gets over it. What you cannot see, you can only see just one tile, and once you see the blue symbol, just like kind of follow it until it gets to the golden particle where that line's pointing, and then you just interact with it, and boom, it's super simple. Finally though, on round 28, I managed to get the Helion Salvo, so I was basically set up. All I had to do was do the last couple of Easter egg steps. I gotta say though, you have to give the gauntlet, the lightning gauntlet, whatever you want to call it, you have to give that gauntlet to the Ra statue. And I gotta say, this is one of the most unfair steps ever, because the skeletons and zombies, if too many of them run in it, well, the skeletons will try to block it. The zombies, if there's too many zombies that run into it, it will just fail, and you'll have to try to do the step again, and you're just gonna run out of ammo before you can do it. Like, it's so dumb. So you basically, what you have to do is actually just take the zombies away from the Ra statue, because you can do that, and just train them up until it finishes, because this step is literally impossible to do solo, legitly. Oh, thank gosh for Joel's guide, because I would never be able to complete this Easter egg, and I would never be able to get past this step if he didn't recommend doing this. Then you need to get the gauntlet that's most powerful, and I honestly forget what the name of it is. It just has so many whack names for the gauntlets, but basically what you have to do is stand on the circle, and then you have to run into a circle again and kill zombies with either your charge shot if they're close on the ground, or if they're on basically the bleachers, then you basically have to just kill them with a normal shot. And I kind of failed a bunch of times because I didn't realize you had to go back and stand on the circle again, and that's in the very back. So it did take me a while, but I eventually figured it out, and I finally completed it. Now for the last step, it's literally just trial and error. You just have to shoot 6 different symbols, and it's super easy. After you do that though, you do get a pretty cool cutscene if you're playing as Bruno or Shaw, where Bruno actually kills Shaw, and then he resurrects him with the Scepter Ra, and then Shaw becomes controlled by the call. And Scarlet and Diego are aware of this, of course. Obviously, I'm not going to show up because it is quite violent with Bruno stabbing Shaw repeatedly. Like, damn, bro. Okay, so all you got to do for this last step is just get your shield to get the blue fire again from the trials, and it will still be there, luckily. And then you have to run through the poison trap with your shield out, and then you have to go back. Basically, you have to go to the very back and then just melee this kind of crossbow right here, and it will fire. And that's basically it, and then you can enter the boss fight. It's super simple. Of course, I just ran for the boss fight portal because I was already set up, and I actually went down 2 times, so it was just like 9 where I only had 1 chance to do this. Then basically what I have to do is shoot down Pegasus, because Pegasus basically got controlled by the god creature or whatever his name is. I don't even remember. Hades? I'm just gonna call him Hades. And basically, once you knock him down with your Helion Salvo, then you just have to use your special weapon on him, because the special weapon is the only thing that does damage to him. And as soon as he flies up, you kind of want to leave the island that you're on, because he will destroy it and kill you. It will probably kill you instantly. I didn't want to find out, though. Then after you deal enough damage to Pegasus, then Hades then stabs and kills Pegasus, which is a very sad moment. Rip Pegasus. Then we have to fight Hades, and he's kind of a complete joke. All you have to do is spam the Helion Salvo on him, and then just use your special weapon. The only hard part is actually getting your special weapon recharged. So as you can see, he's vulnerable and he's orange, but I cannot do any damage to him whatsoever because I don't have my special weapon, which is kind of bull. I finally did manage to kill Hades, and then I get the Oracle key, and I just realized I went to round 49 by doing that Easter egg. Wow. Basically what happens in the cutscene is that the Oracle gets kind of released, and then she shows where her father is, which obviously is Alistair Rhodes. And then Diego, Bruno, and Shaw go to check it out. And then Scarlet tries to free the Oracle, which turns out to be Medusa, by the way. And then Diego comes back and then tries to save her, but it was too late. I don't know really what happened, if Scarlet died or not, but I'm not sure. They didn't continue the storyline. It would have been really interesting to see what would happen, though, because Shaw and Bruno were controlled by the cult at this point, so they were kind of useless. Blood of the Dead is, without a doubt, the hardest Easter egg in Zombies history. Well, except for one of them, which is even worse. Since Blood of the Dead's intro is copyrighted from what I know, I won't be showing it, but to summarize it, Blood of the Dead takes place after Zetsubo. They then travel to Alcatraz to get the blood vials, but then the Chronorium changes, and they get trapped in an endless cycle in Mob of the Dead until Brutus gets Richtofen's blood, or Richtofen sacrifices himself to the dark mechanism. So the first thing I would do is leave one zombie after I get enough points to open up both these doors, and then I turn on power. I then open up this lock with the warden's key that I got from killing the warden from earlier. That was on the catwalk. I'm going to be using that part a lot, this code that I just opened. Of course, I turn on the second power switch, and then another warden spawns in, which can easily just be taken out with my strife, because it is only round 1 after all. I then build the spectral shield at this location, and of course, this is basically like half the Easter egg is just using the shield and charging it. I then take the time to fill up my first dog, my second dog, and my third dog, so that allows me to get the house retriever. After I use my shield blast on that electrical box, then I was able to pick up the spoon, which is needed for just one step of the Easter egg, but it's not really needed after. You could get the golden spork though. I then get the free Blundergat from the free Blundergat Easter egg. There's basically 5 blue skulls around the map, and then you can just throw your house retriever at it, get all 5, and you get the free Blundergat in the warden's office. I then grab stamina up as it will be needed to run across the entire map so I can get the magma gat. And since this spot is pretty tight, it does get a little hectic when you're in here, especially with just a warden randomly in here. So, and the fact that I only have the strife, it is quite difficult to just train in here. I managed to get my tempered Blundergat inside where it's supposed to go, and then I managed to get the magma gat in by dying wish. I also managed to get the Helion super early, which was cool. Managed to get on round 9, so I knew this was the run, and this was only my first try. And for this first step, the true first step is to get Pack Punch on, but after that, the step you need to do is kind of gate kept till around 17. So in order to bypass that, you can use your level 2 special weapon to get the free monkey bombs. Throw your monkey bomb at the top of the warden's house, and then he'll just break the monkey bomb and break the wall with it, and you'll move on to the first step way earlier. And then by quick revive, and the reason I'm using it is because I obviously knew this Easter egg was going to take me to at least round 40, so I wanted to have quick revive so I can regenerate my health faster. I then interact with the Chronorium, and then a bird comes in and swipes it from me, and then I have to basically go look for him. Which, there's 42 different spawn locations for this bird. Basically, this is where your shield comes into play, because once you use your shield, you'll be able to see the bird, and you'll also be able to hear the bird as well, even when you're not using your shield. So the step's not the worst in the world, but 42 spawn locations? Come on, Treyarch. I go to the mystery box, and then once I get the lock, I drain it with my shield, and then I throw my house retriever at it, and then it gives me the upgrade shield, which allows me to store 4 charges instead of 2, which is obviously way better than 2, because you're going to be using your shield a lot throughout this Easter egg, even the boss fight. Once I got the bird 3 times with my shield, the 4th time, you're not going to be able to see him, so you have to basically use your zombie blood. And this step is literally impossible to do sometimes if you don't have temporal gift, because it can spawn in the spawn room, and there's no way to get there in time with a zombie blood, so you have to pop temporal gift. And then I figured out where the bird was, which was right there, and basically I just have to throw my house retriever at him, and then he'll drop the Chronorium. Then after you pick up the Chronorium, you can give it to the whatever the body is in the warden's house, and then it will give you a code. You have to put that into the code that you saw earlier that I unlocked with the warden's key. And then after that, you have to look for a red ball around the map using your shield. You have to zap that with your shield blast, and then it will give you 1 of 6. I got the new I got the power challenge, which is by far the hardest one. You have to play Simon Says, which I clearly suck at. And then after that, you have to remember a code, and then you have to give it. Like, it's so complicated. So of course, I ended up failing this challenge like 10 times. But I got another challenge which was way easier, and all you have to do for this one is get a kill and kind of the area where you place the spoon to get the upgrade version, and then you have to just shield blast them and then charge him with souls until he gets back to where you shot this ball right here, this red ball, and then that's basically a challenge. It's really easy. It's just an escort challenge. I like these challenges that are easy. I do not like the Simon Says one though. See, I bring him over, he disappears, and he drops a little red ball, and then I can pick that up. For this next one, it's also really easy. You just have to wait for this guy to finish playing his banjo. You gotta take it, and then you just gotta stand in a circle and fill up with souls. It's really easy. This next challenge is really easy as well. It's just another escorting one, but the zombies will try to attack this one this time, so you do gotta be a little careful. You gotta defend him, because if you fail, you gotta do the whole thing where you gotta go to the Chronorium, get the code, and then it will give you a different challenge. Now, this challenge is definitely the second most difficult. Basically, what you have to do is shield blast him, and then just use your key on him for as long as possible, and then once he disappears, you use your shield blast again, and you actually have to do that 5 times, so you need to get another 4 zombie kills, or you need to get lucky with one of the afterlife boxes, and that will give you all your charges, and you'll be able to get them that way. And then, I don't know what happened, because I only blasted them 3 times, I'm pretty sure. Then once you got to the new industries, I was like kind of hopeless for the challenge, but for some reason I was able to use a trap on him and kill him, and I completed the challenge. So my last challenge was this, obviously the Simon Says one, which, like I said, is the most difficult one. So no wonder this took me to round 40 to do, because I failed a bunch of times and I would have to progress to another round just to try this challenge out again. It was so painful to do. And then once you even complete the Simon Says, you have to get, it will flash 3 different lights on, and you have to write down all 3 of the symbols that for the 3 lights that lit up, and then you have to basically go pick up a key card, go to the spawn room, and then enter the key card into a computer, and there will be like 3 different symbols. You have to interact with the ones that were your 3. Then it will give you 3 new symbols, and then you have to go to the ghost over by power. That's just flipping switches, and you have to find your 3 different symbols, and then you have to basically, it's so complicated. You have to wait till the ghost is about to go to your symbol, then you have to shield blast them. So you have to also make sure you have shield blast. It's so painful. I get why people don't like this Easter egg. I finally completed it though, and then what I had to do was go to this warden's body, and then I had to just stand next to the summoning key. And then basically after a bit, then I'll get a little bit of a cutscene where this tower breaks, and then the warden sneaks up from behind us and knocks us out basically. Then we have to make a run for it after we escape from our prison cell that the warden just put us in. He'll turn into a big warden, and then he'll get taken away by all the ghosts, and then we pick up the final red orb, and then we'll be able to place them all on the map. And then we can do the boss fight. Now the boss fight's really simple. All you gotta do is kill 4 wardens for the first stage, then the big warden will be spawned in, being held by ghosts, and then what you have to do is stand in the red circle, get rid of all 3 red orbs, then use your shield blast to shock the dark mechanism, and then that's the first part. For the second part, you just do the exact same thing, except you kill around 7 wardens, the big warden will spawn in again. And then all you have to do, like I said, is just get rid of all the red orbs and then shoot the dark mechanism. And then you'll actually be able to enter the dark mechanism, which is pretty cool. Well, as long as you're playing as Richtof. And if you're playing as something like Dempsey, then a bot will spawn in and enter the dark mechanism. And then we get a cutscene where post-revelations Richtofen turns out to be alive with the fire gem from the fire style. And then basically we just go to the boss fight, and then we can easily take out the warden. Like you see right now, just a couple of Helion salvo shots and he's done already. And I'm not gonna show all the cutscenes because it is quite violent with Richtofen dying. Basically what happens is the characters are finally free because Richtofen sacrificed himself in the dark mechanism. And post-revelations Richtofen, I guess, is in replace of Primus Richtofen. And this is a very sad cutscene with Richtofen saying, "I was the nicest one, you won't even remember." That hit hard, man. Now for Classified, I didn't do the round 150 Easter egg for the cutscene, but instead did the free Winter's Howl Easter egg, since it does take like 12 hours to get to round 150, and I wasn't worried about getting like round 150 yet, because I knew I could do that. I was worried about like crashing or something, or getting disconnected from the servers. What does happen is that basically the Ultimus crew are trapped in a cage, and then the Primus crew save them, and they have to go to the Great War. Alpha Omega is obviously a reimagined version of Nuketown, and this is also where Broken Arrow took place, which Russman, yes, the guy from the Victus crew, was involved in. Nikolai wanted to come here so they can get the Elemental Shard, so they can have a better tomorrow. But what everyone except Nikolai and Richtofen don't know is that they all have to die to erase everything that's spewed forth from their ether. So I get power on round 4. I start the lockdown process for the generator so I can get Pack Punch open. I then have to get rid of all the gas that's probably came from the Novas for the ventilation units, and then once I do that, I can go speak to Rushmore. I then talk to Rushmore, and we ask for the Elemental Shard, but he says we need to gain his trust before we can do that. I then build a shield on round 7. I then have to wait to buy the Glava Knuckles, and once I do, I have to melee this TV, and then it will give me 4 different codes, and it will say a letter before the codes. So let's say it said D. I would have to look for the house that had the mailbox D on it, and then I would have to put the code into the clock. So for example, if it said the letter D, then I would have to go to the house that has D on it, and if it said 0845, then I would have to put 0845 hours on. It's a really easy step, considering I'm pretty sure you can just hold down the button and it will just stop it on the right number anyway, so you don't even have to remember it. After I type the right code into the operations bunker, I can get a free ray gun Mark II, which is really nice. The funny part is, the original Mark II is better than all the elemental ones. Once I complete that step, I have to do the step where I have to bring a Bread Nova Crawler to the transfusion facility, and it's really easy. The only problem is if you kill him, you gotta go past another round, just like always. But then once you bring him to this one, oh, he'll climb through it and then go up the stairs, and you'll complete that step. Now, this next step can be a little confusing if you don't know what you're doing, but you basically have to find these power boxes around the map, and then all of them turn off different numbers. So basically one of them could turn off 1, 2, 3, another one could turn off 1, 2, 5, and they can either turn off or on. You have to make sure all of them are green, so it can be quite difficult. Then I have to find this orb around the map. It can just be randomly anywhere, and I found it in the house to my right over there. It was in a window, and it literally went all the way across the map just to get to that one house that's on the right of me right now, that blue house. So after that, I just had to fill all these 4 canisters with souls of mannequins. Now they changed to mannequins from zombies, and they have a little bit more health. And now the Avogadro from Transit, of course, he spawns in. You actually never have to attack the Avogadro, but he will try to kill you, so you can shoot him to stun him for about 5 seconds. Because his attacks can be quite lethal if you're not careful. All you have to do, though, is just find 4 canisters around the underground area, and then just get around 50 mannequin kills around them, and then you'll be done with this. It's so easy after that, because then you just bring the Avogadro back to where he came from. You just gotta get him back into the pyramid. Once he's there, then you basically complete the Easter egg. Once you claim the elemental shard after that, then Nikolai says they got what they came here for, and then you'll be able to see Maxis. And he gets absolutely destroyed by Monty, like, damn, because I'm pretty sure he realized that the cycle was broken with them going to Revelations every single time and getting basically banished all the way to the Great War, and the cycle just continuing over and over. And I think he realized that that wasn't happening anymore, so he killed Maxis, but Samantha got teleported, and that leads us to our final map. Toddler Tone was the last zombies map for the true Aether storyline, since Cold War story is kinda bad. For this map, the Primus crew and Ultimus crew decide they would get the Victus crew to get the Garthen device so they can have a good time together. But really, Nikolai was just cherishing his last moments with his friends, because he knew that once Victus had the Garthen device, they would all have to die. So I get the first power switch on, which obviously is just in spawn. I then get this blue rock, which is of course element 115, and I give it to the Hermit, which is Pablo Marinus. Turn on the second power switch, and I just have one more to turn it on. So once I get the zipline handle from turning the crank so the zipline's lower, Pablo gives me a zipline handle, and then I'm able to get to the last power switch and turn it on. After completing 2 of the challenge podiums from Pablo, he gives me dials, and now I can continue to do the first step of the Easter egg. The step is really easy. All you gotta do is put the dials on here, and then you just gotta turn it until you hear a ding. It's really easy. I don't think Treyarch even intended that to be a thing, because I saw numbers around the map. I'm assuming that's probably how they originally wanted it to happen. I then open up the safe, which reveals the Vril device, and I just have to kill a couple of zombies around it. I give it to Pablo, and he gives me a key that allows me to get the Wonder Waft. I don't even remember what it's called, but it's just a Wonder Waft with a scope, which it's alright. For this step, you basically just have to shoot the Apothicon blood, and then 3 different parts of it will fly around the map, and you have to just go look for it. Throw a snowball at it. Make sure you don't get too close to it, otherwise it will fly away, and you're probably going to mess it up. And you just have to do it 3 times, and then you have to basically pick up the device, and then you have to just place it next to the campfire, throw a Samantha box, and then that's basically all you have to do. And I had to place this fuse in here, and because there wasn't enough power, I had to charge it using my Wonder Waft, and basically you just have to shoot these power boxes, and once you do that, you need to just power up a little more by getting electrical zombie kills around these generators. And yes, I did take my first down. Luckily though, I did have 3 self-revives instead of 2, so it didn't really matter that much. For this next step, which is the last step before the boss, but it's not really a boss, I decided to get the Helion Salvo, of course, just to be on the safe side. Just makes everything in this game easier. So then I give the Seal of Duati to Hermit, and then it starts a lockdown that it's time-based, so you don't really have to worry about killing anything. You can just train around. But I just got the Helion Salvo to be on the safe side. After I finished the lockdown, I was able to get a free Thunder Gun, not to be confused with the Tundra Gun, which is a worse version. Still pretty good though. because I was completing all the challenge podiums as I was doing the Easter egg, so I got a free thunder gun. The only problem was I couldn't pack-a-punch it, sadly, because I was on the step of the Easter egg where you cannot pack-a-punch anymore. At least I pack-a-punch my Helion Salva, because I would have probably not gotten through this or the Easter egg if it weren't for that. For this step, all you have to do is place your Seal of Duality in each of the pack-a-punch machines, get around 20 kills, I'd say, and then you gotta do that for all the pack-a-punch machines. Once you do have 5, then Hermit will tell you have to do 1 more, and that turns out to be the golden pack-a-punch. And once you do that, you're basically on the boss fight. I guess you could say it's a boss fight, but it's not really. It's really easy. All I gotta do now is stay in this bubble that the Gauntlet device is providing me, because when you're outside of it, you take damage, as you're seeing right now. And just when you get to certain places, the Gauntlet device will stop, and you have to fill it up with around, I say, 50 souls. And it's not that hard because you can just spam your Helion, and you have your special weapon. You also have Wraith Fires. It's just super easy. It would have been cool if they did something like maybe a Dr. Monty boss fight at the very end. He tries to stop you and you have to kill him or something. That would have been way more cool than what this is. Once you get to the last part, which is inside the facility, all you gotta do is kill a bunch of zombies around here, and it will start to shrink even more. And just all you have to do is just act like you're camping for a high round. You just spam your Helion. You get through anything with that thing, honestly. Helion's broken, but after you do that, then the Gauntlet device will drop. You'll hear a bit of talking between Nikolai and his friends. Once the talking is done, you give the Gauntlet device Pablo Marinus, as he says, and he says he's the future and great hero of the Great War, and he's going to save the universe. Then he drops the Gauntlet device, we pick it up, and we get the cutscene where it's kind of sad. What happens is it shows Nikolai and his friends having a good time, and then it cuts back to the Victus crew where they literally they're just there to die. All their purpose was to get the Gauntlet device, and it's funny how they've been just like pawns to getting stuff for everybody, for the Ultimus crew and the Premise crew. That's been actually hilarious. But then Nikolai destroys the summoning key using the Gauntlet device, and from there he shoots Ultimus Richtofen in the head, which is honestly crazy, using a Wellington. I mean, honestly, good job. He's probably around 0 zombie or something. And then Nikolai talks about how they had to die for this for it to be a perfect world or something like that. And it's honestly sad that this had to happen. Rep the Aether story, man. I mean, it's kind of obvious that Treyarch probably wanted to do more with this because they didn't have a lot of budget for Black Ops 4, so for what it's worth, they did pretty well with this game. So yeah, if you're wondering where I've been for the past couple days, it's been editing this. It's taken me 3 days, 4 days to edit this. It's been pain. And that, everybody, is how I completed every Black Ops 4 Zombies Easter egg. I hope you enjoyed.